My name is Daniel Kiilur. I have just been holding the position of Head of Support Services at Strathmore University, or the alternative name for it, or the more official name for it, is Executive Director, University Services. I started in Strathmore College in November 1998. And after 1 week, I sought 2 weeks leave to decide as to whether I should take the job or not. And finally came for the job on 1st of December 1998. I was in charge of the Registrar of Finance, looking after finance matters. But then I doubled up with the human resource function in the following year. And I also started working and became the chairman of the Strathmore Provident Fund. So I wore many hats. I set up 2 teams, one team working on the manual systems, because accounts and reports were still needed by the management board. While at the same time, I had a parallel team working on automation. So for 1 year or thereabout, worked 2 systems, and after 1.5 years, we finally came up with the automated accounting system from the system called Pastel. On the other hand, we are in the heart of the HR, came up with the systems to control, systems to improve what was already in place. For example, starting the appraisal systems, which faced some resistance, but nevertheless was accepted. Staff tag, staff clearance system, when staff are leaving, we introduced the system. And then what was more important, at least in the change, was the issue of the medical scheme. We are trying to look for a university system that would account for our students and matters to do with the students. Shopping a bit, or quite a bit, in South Africa and other parts. The quotation which came to us was 150 million shillings, way beyond our budgets. Again, through the help of Dr. Sevilla, we got a donation of AMS from Navarra University in Spain. Given what it could do, monitoring the student from admission through the years to the graduation and producing the graduation list from that system, obviously we knew that was the way to go. There was a request came from the Pro-Chancellor that we needed to have a medical facility where we would look, where our brothers and sisters would be looked after. A committee of 3 people, Dr. Almeida, Harriet Koyoson, and myself were tasked with the setting up of that facility. That way we started the clinic, where now staff and students, and now at the moment the general public get medical support. Then administration services was already a well-developed unit, and worked very closely with Mr. Laide and continued to offer services and maintenance and keeping our grounds and buildings in good condition, or top maintenance status. Then the cafeteria services had been a small place in now the central building, where we were attending very few students. But now, with the growth of the university, after completion of phase 3, we set up the current cafeteria that you see. Then housekeeping, again, there were many changes. It started as a small place where we only had casuals coming from being employed for 1 hour in the morning, 2 hours, 3 hours. was basically casuals and with no permanent contract. So, but later on we thought it would be a better thing if we employed on a 1-year contract, improve their terms, even provided transport initially to make their coming here safe, and even improve their terms and improve their terms and salaries to the point of minimum salary of the government, leading to the fact that now these women are really, most of them are the sole breadwinners of their families. As head of finance, there were many challenges. There were some challenges. People, when you sit in senior offices, people come talking about this or that, and we usually tell them, well, in Strathmore, we have our own ways of working, and we work in straight ways, and therefore things can only be done in one way, following our values, and that we treasure so much. Strathmore is inspired by the spirit of Opus Dei, and of course, it is, of course, a section of the Catholic Church. As the VC said, the members are very few, and they are trying to do their best. And so, when a member or when a person, say like Kiilur, makes a mistake, he's an individual struggling, he's at the bottom there, and because we all have different graces, just like other religions, they are also trying to be good Christians, to be good Muslims, to be good Hindus, but they are all struggling in their own way to find their way to heaven. So it should be understood in this way that Opus Dei members of people, they are not necessarily angels and therefore reach perfection. Everything they do will be perfect. They are struggling until death. Until then, they are struggling like every other human being, and so should be looked at with a bit of charity. The culture, therefore, of Strathmore going forward, with all these deliberate efforts to induct staff when they come on board, directed so that they settle down. They settle down well. They know that we have come here to serve. Money is not really the main thing. As I many times tell people when I interview them, if you are coming to Strathmore to look for big money, it is not there. Money, we are not the best, I tell them, but we are not the worst either. And so you come to serve, yes, come and serve. And in Strathmore we need selfless people, because many times you'll work without expecting anything, and because you want to serve. And as I told someone, sometimes when I came to Strathmore, I came for much lower pay than I got where I was, much lower. And then a few years later, actually 2 years later, a colleague of my previous employment sent a driver to come to see me with a message and an envelope saying, and then I told him, what is it? I called my previous colleague, and he said, wow, I've gotten your job. Yeah, that envelope contains your car keys. It's in my office, and your job and your salary will be what you used to earn where you are. So just let's meet tomorrow, and then you sort out this matter. So I went and told him, thank you very much. You are my friend, and that I am sure. And in Strathmore, I'm very highly respected, and I found out there's a need for me to do a serious job there. That is there, and so money for me is not the key thing. I want to give my best to Strathmore and take it where I took the other company where we were working with you. And when they are there, then I will be happy. And so again, what I'm trying to say is that really money is not bad, it's good, but then if you want to give service, dedication, selflessness, really even made consideration. And many people asked, what drives Strathmore? And what I can say is that Strathmore is driven by people who want to serve and who have given their very best and their everything to serve Strathmore. What matters more for Strathmore and the people who come in contact with Strathmore is the culture that you learn and the values that you learn in campus. It cannot be that with the coming of COVID-19 or any other pandemic that we go online and then students do not come to Strathmore campus, because then that is what makes all the difference. That impact of the guard at the gate, that contact with the cafeteria, that contact with the housekeeping staff, that contact with the people around the compound, people looking happy. Not to have that, and not to have students learn those values is to lose the edge you have over everybody else. The happy dean, I suppose you all know him, Dr. Njenga. He gave me so many corrections. I always wonder if he had not made those corrections to me, where would I be, or what was I like before I came? I just imagine, wow. And everyone who is in this compound, there would always be someone to correct you. People would never let you go down doing wrong things or behaving the wrong way. And all that happens in Strathmore, in this compound. It cannot happen online. At least my experience there was tremendous. I've never forgotten it. I've never told him how happy I was that he did, but now, at least now he knows. Of course, people keep on asking, but the world is changing. You keep on talking about people cannot mix, cannot be this. Yes, they mix, but with dignity. Our values are not going to be watered down by the changing environment, because we believe in them and they are human, and therefore we believe that they change the world. People who get in contact with Strathmore, they never forget the mark. The experience they have is a lifetime. Passes on to them, to their families, including myself. You do a thing and people will say, wow, is this person from Strathmore? Because they know what Strathmore stands for and what Strathmore lives in terms of not that theory, but practice.